This is 17-year-old Gavin Ramsay. Now, Gavin doesn't seem to be having a very good time right now. He's actually in the middle of an interrogation room, or I guess you could say the side of an interrogation room, waiting to be questioned by detectives about a particularly horrific crime that happened next to his house. Now, to set the scene, Gavin is from Wadsworth, Ohio. It's actually a suburb of Akron, which as a whole is, like an hour away from Cleveland. Akron is the birthplace of some of the best athletes out there, namely LeBron James, as well as Stephen Curry. And of course, the true Drift King, the Goblin of Akron, Chance Wilkins. But as a whole, it seems like it's a fairly alright place. Now, usually I try to show a drone shot or a drive-through of the city that we're talking about, but Wadsworth in particular, it seems like it's just a complete piece of crap. That's going to play in a little bit here. If I look up Wadsworth, Ohio on YouTube, the first result is the case that we're looking at. Then it's a bunch of anti-drag protesters, including armed Nazis, neo-Nazis, just a bunch of dog shit, to be quite honest with you. Now, Margaret Douglas was actually Gavin's neighbor. Unfortunately, there's not too much information available about Margaret. What we do have is just a few pictures from her youth. Now, one thing's for sure is that we could say that Margaret definitely loved dogs. Here's one of her final photos before her passing, as well as one from her youth with another one of her cherished furry friends. So unfortunately, I don't have too much backstory on Margaret. I'm sure she lived an amazingly fantastic life, except for the day that she passed when Gavin ruined everything for her. And it's really unfortunate because what happened between her and Gavin is actually the resounding story. When you look up her information, it's basically just that, which is, for a lack of better words, a complete shame, because she had 98 full years of life before Gavin came along. So on April 9th, 2018, Wadsworth police received a call from some of Margaret's families saying that they hadn't heard from her in a couple days and they had some concerns about her safety and well-being. So they asked for a wellness check. Now, the police weren't able to find her, so they started a preliminary search. So Margaret's nephew, his name is Howard, by the way, Howard checks her closet, and that's where he notices a pair of shoes underneath what looks like a pile of clothes. Except it wasn't just a pair of shoes. Beneath a pile of clothing and inside of this 1.5 by 2.5 foot closet was Margaret. To say that it was horrifically traumatic, again, is saying it lightly. Her clothing was disheveled and torn in some places, suggesting that she had been sexually assaulted, and the trauma on her neck suggested that she had been strangled manually. Now, the police searched around. They suspected that Douglas was probably killed during the commission of a burglary. They couldn't find her wallet, but this still didn't really lead anywhere. Aside from the wallet, they found a plastic glove that had been discarded near the back of the house. Now, the way the rest of the investigation plays out seems like it was a series of fortunate events preceded by an extremely unfortunate event. But basically, the police were so desperate for answers, they decided to start searching into other crimes and to investigate that. Now, remember, Wadsworth is a city with a population of only roughly 24,000 at the 2020 census. We can assume it's probably a little bit less prior to that in 2018, but basically we've got a very small pool of people for police to investigate and an even smaller pool of crimes. So I'm from a bigger city. This wouldn't be something that they would do over here, but apparently in Wadsworth, it worked out. And the reason why it worked out was during the investigation of these smaller crimes, they came across a case where a trailer had been broken into at a construction site, and they happened to find some clues there that would lead them to the next step. Now, the biggest clue of all was a phone that had been left behind that had been traced to a person named Zachary. So police found Zachary, who was apparently one of the worst criminals around. He actually left his own cell phone behind at the crime. What? And as soon as Zachary was brought in for some questioning, he started singing like a bird, and he ratted out Gavin. Now, how he ratted on Gavin wasn't that he told them that Gavin committed the murder. It was that Gavin had been the lead for a bunch of other petty crimes and that all of them were his idea. So Gavin gets brought into the Wadsworth police station, and that's where they find out Gavin is a real piece of shit. I don't exactly know how a 17-year-old ends up like this. I've done some cases on some really, really messed up kids before, but Gavin is a monster. So what transpired between Gavin and Margaret is actually really, really, really disturbing, and it is way too much for YouTube. But it is important to know exactly why I call Gavin a monster. So let me give you just a brief rundown here. So Gavin decided to break into Margaret's home that day and found her sleeping on her couch, and he decided to manually strangle her until the life left her completely. Until she was gone, he literally took his hands and took her life from her. Then he undressed her and sexually assaulted her for 2 hours after she had passed. And during those 2 hours, he would pose Margaret in provocative poses for pictures and videos, which he would keep in a folder on his phone called dark. Now, we've all heard stories about people who just randomly snap and become violent, but that's not the case for Gavin. That is not the case for Gavin at all. You see, aside from those petty crimes that Zachary was talking about, that Gavin would admit to, by the way, Gavin would also find partners on the gay dating app Grindr to hook up with, and then he would violently rob them. Gavin even had a notebook that gave us a glimpse into his twisted mind. And here's a quote from the Ohio Coalition for Safety and Fairness. It contained serial killer biographies, fantasies of raping, strangling, and murdering people, as well as plans to kill people that he knew. Now, don't forget, Gavin sexually assaulted Margaret after she had been murdered. Now, that seems to be Gavin finally giving in to one of his desires that he had been trying to fulfill for a long time. And it looks like before this, about a year prior to killing Margaret, Gavin tried to get hired at a funeral home. And let's be honest here, it's not out of any desire to help the families of the past. I mean, clearly not because of what he did to Margaret, but rather to partake in these interests that he had. And after all of the completely twisted, depraved, heinous, whatever adjective you want to use to describe these acts that Gavin did, after all of that, he stuffed her into a 1.5 foot by 2.5 foot closet, dumped a pile of clothes on her, and took off. This case is particularly interesting for a variety of reasons, but most of all, it's heartbreaking. And in order to really grasp how heartbreaking it is and, you know, what I believe to be the true embodiment of evil, Gavin Ramsay, you really have to see the interrogation. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, this is the interrogation of Gavin Ramsay.
Gavin, can I get your water or something, man? No. I'll be right back in, okay?
Now, I do want to give a shout out to the Crime Scene for finding this video. The Crime Scene is a new and upcoming interrogation channel. I've got a link down below to the Crime Scene. Make sure you go check them out. Give them a like, subscribe, go do all that good stuff because they definitely deserve it.
You sure I can't get you a drink? I know telling me about it doesn't give you much relief.
Just chins in fact, it ruined my life.
It's not going to change it. We can't go back and change it.
No.
At this point, we just have to figure out what's going on with you, okay? Did you go to school the next morning after this?
I don't think we were even back in school.
Oh, it was during spring break, you're right.
I think so.
And you didn't take anything from the house? like I said before, it doesn't make a difference either way.
I mean, what other crime can I commit that would really matter at this point?
No, the family just specifically
Yeah,
asked me about the wallet, so that's the only reason I'm asking about that, okay? It doesn't have anything to do with the case, really. It's just a little something for them.
Okay. Grandpa? Staying up breathing? Feel more comfortable laying down then? Do you want to take these off, I guess, for a bit? That's up to you guys. Do you mind?
I don't mind. I'm not worried about
Just a
you.
little bit more comfortable, you know what I'm saying? Let me get some of them off of there.
I love cookies.
Can you tell we don't use these very much? Cookie or something, hungry?
Gavin, what happened to Margaret's underwear?
Her.
Alright?
Yeah, I'm fine. I mean, there was a bit of an altercation. Like, she wasn't up whenever she was going to the phone. And,
So did you kind of wrestle with her then?
a little bit. Like, he was off the couch.
On the floor? And her underwear got torn then?
Yeah, I kind of got.
So when she died, was she on the couch or on the floor?
Floor.
Were you on top of her then?
Kind of.
Like straddling her?
Yeah.
And did you use one hand or both?
Both.
Did you squeeze it or push her against the floor or both?
Both.
And you said you don't remember if she was bleeding at that point.
Well, I mean, the only reason I can think of bleeding is when I put my hand over her mouth.
So when you were holding her hand over her mouth, you might have pushed too hard and maybe made her nose bleed.
Yeah.
So were you in her house for a little while before you woke her up?
I mean, I came up onto the porch, and I didn't even know what I was going to do. And I looked in the window and everything. I don't know, I felt like going into a house is like the biggest adrenaline rush I could get. I guess. So then I tried the doorknob and that just happened to be unlocked.
Was it the front door or back door?
Or back door.
Okay. So you went into the kitchen?
Was like the TV on or something? When you went in? I don't think so. No. Headed up to the house, you didn't hear it or something, I guess. went in because when I came around the corner, that's where I saw her, and it scared me. Because I didn't expect to see someone right there. So I didn't hear anything. So I came in, like, I opened the door, and I just listened. And then I didn't hear anything, so maybe nobody's home. And then I go to walk around that corner, like I'm still going slow, but I see her, and she's, I don't know, like sleeping or something. And then I go to turn around and hit the chair, and it made a noise, and she woke up.
And she started to scream at that point, you said?
Yeah, because, like, when I hit the chair, I, like, turned back around, and I looked, and she was there staring at me and started to yell. And then went for the phone. She already knew what it looked like.
We were trying to get, like, when she went for the phone, was that when you were trying to get the phone away from her so she couldn't call? Did you knock that out away, or is that what you guys fought over the phone?
It was, like, a little bit of a fight, I think. I think I threw it under the couch. I'm not really sure.
You guys ended up on the floor at that point?
Yeah, I don't even know where the phone went.
When you said you guys were on the floor, like her gown got tore.
Yeah, because she was still...
Well, her underwear, I guess.
I don't even know if she was wearing underwear.
Okay.
Because when she was on the couch, like, she grabbed the phone and everything. It was still, like, yelling, and I don't know if she died or anything yet or not, but I just didn't know what to do, and then that happened. By the time I even realized what I was doing, it was too late to stop anything.
And when you realized that's when you were on the floor on top of her with your hands on her and stuff. That's when it, okay.
Now, there's a couple of videos of you kind of peeking over the edge of the couch and videotaping her. When was that all done?
That was on the same night. Why did I lie about anything? That was stupid.
Okay. So when you went in the house earlier?
No, like, I never went to the house before, but, like, I went in, and I was being quiet and everything. And, like, how it happened, like, I wasn't lying about that, but I did, you know, like, I turned the corner and did see her.
And you hid?
Yeah, then I hid, and I, like, you know, was taking my phone. I was taking pictures to see if she was awake.
I got you.
And then
she saw you?
we stood up, and she saw me.
Did your flash go off on your phone?
I don't think so.
So from there, is that did you tell us the truth about the rest of that? So how long do you think you were in the house before you woke her up?
I don't know, probably like 10, 15 minutes.
And then from the time you woke her up to the time you ended up on top of her, choking her, how long did that whole part take?
That was probably like 5 minutes.
So pretty quick. So she tries to get the phone, you try and stop her. You guys struggle to the floor, and you end up on top of her with your hands on her neck. And you're pushing and squeezing. You have your hand over her mouth at the same time?
Well, my hand on her mouth was on the couch.
Okay.
And then, I don't know, rolled or something off the couch.
Was she like fighting back with you then, trying to struggle, and then you guys went down?
Yeah. I think on her way down is when the gun ripped.
But you don't remember ripping her panties? How long did you stay there before you put her in the closet?
That was probably like 30 minutes. Like, I was still in shock from it, I guess. And then I checked my phone, and it said it was like 4 something, and I knew my mom had to get up at 5 for work.
So then you made the decision then? Did you look around for another place to put her, or was that just the first place you came along?
I guess it was just the first place, considering like my time with it.
Was it just to hide her? So you could just be done and gone?
So all that stuff that was on top of her was already in the closet? So you pulled all that stuff out of the closet?
Well, I mean, a lot of it was stuff that was already hanging.
Gotcha.
Or just pulling it down?
And then you drug her by her feet, you said, to the closet. What part of her body did you put in there first?
I think it was her head that went in first. Because, like, I opened the closet door, I didn't even know if there was going to be anything in there or not. And I think there was some stuff in the way, so I stopped and I moved it. And then
What was in there?
the thing I remember most is just the sweeper being in there. And I think there were just like clothes and just whatever was on the ground.
So you moved all that stuff. And then you put her head in?
I think I put her head in first, I don't really know.
Did you have to manipulate her body, like kind of pick her up? I mean, it seemed like you had a little strength, you know, just like kind of pick her up a little bit.
Yeah.
Pick her from the back or the front.
I went over the front and like behind her shoulders.
Like kind of like a little carry.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And just kind of put her in there that way.
And then everything from the closet you just put back in there on top of her?
And then clothes that were hanging, I just pulled them off and put them there.
How'd you leave? Which way?
Through the back door.
Back door.
Did you close the closet door? Did you put that heater in front of the door?
Yeah.
Was there any adrenaline with that? Or? No.
It was like adrenaline and shock at the same time. So like 1 second I'm like, I don't know, adrenaline.
You know, and the next thing you know, it's like
It's
an overload.
I don't know what's happening.
Yeah.
So what did you do with your gloves when you left?
We rode away.
Where at?
In the trash can.
At home. Because there's a glove there. Could you have dropped one?
There was a glove there.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I did drop one then.
There was purple stuff on it. What was the purple stuff that was on there? I get it that there's a whole piece of this that you don't understand why you do. Okay? I understand the whole sexual piece that you don't understand. And I get that. Did the purple stuff have to do with the whole sexual piece that you don't understand why you do? No. And is that the same time that you were taking some of those pictures?
Yeah, and after I took those pictures, I'm like, what?
That's when the shock set in.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing?
So it was adrenaline all the way up until then. And then the whole shock took over the overload. Is that right?
It sounds right.
That sounds hard, confusing. Did you go in the house initially just to steal something? Since you're up?
It just, honestly, all I did was I wanted the adrenaline rush.
Oh, and just going into a house.
Something.
Yeah.
I think that's why I broke into the cars and stuff, because there's that risk factor, and all I've ever done is take risks, because that's the only thing that makes me...
That's your drug, adrenaline?
Yeah, like, I don't know, nothing feels real to me. When I have adrenaline, it's like, alright.
You feel alive.
Not,
like there's meaning to you. Right?
I don't know about meaning, but
you understand, like you feel like
yeah, it feels different. It's like, I don't know how to explain that.
Any bad stuff inside you goes away.
I guess.
Do you live with hurt?
Do
you live with hurt inside you? Pain? Confusion?
I used to be, with hurt and everything, but I don't know what it's from.
Like when you met up with the guy with the car, with that adrenaline? A little bit.
Yeah.
So your whole intention of going in the house was just the adrenaline of being in somebody's house?
Yeah, I didn't even want to rob the house.
It was just the sneaky thrill of can I get in somebody's house and get out and get away with it?
Yeah, but if the door was locked, I would have just walked away. I would have been like, I'm not going to try and go open a window or climb on the roof and go in. I would have just left, just like a car. If a car is locked.
Did you try any other doors besides Margaret's? You just were familiar with that house when you ended up there?
Well, whenever I was walking around, because I was out, trying to get in the cars and everything, and I came up from like the backyards, and I've never even been in their backyard, and there was no cars in the driveway, and the garage looked like it hadn't been opened in a while because there was stuff piled in front of it. So then I just went.
Figure try that one and see, because maybe didn't even know if somebody was home.
Yeah, I didn't think anybody was home.
Was it dark when you went inside the house? No lights on or nothing?
None at all?
Well, no, there was the lamp that was on.
In the living room? Over in the corner by the steps? That one?
No, if you walk in from the kitchen, you're looking at the couch. It's on the right.
Okay.
I think.
Gotcha. By the china cabinet there. Probably where she was reaching for the phone at. Did she say anything to you when any of this was happening? Did you say anything to her?
No, it happened.
It happened quick. And you didn't take her wallet. Nobody cares about the 60 or 80 bucks.
Yeah, nobody cares about anything in there.
I did, but it's gone.
Where do you throw it?
Trash also.
Which trash?
At my house, but
Trash has already been taken out. What day's your trash day?
Tuesdays.
So the card and everything were there, so we know we're not going to worry about somebody using that card. It's gone.
Yeah, it's gone.
And the cash you just probably used on whatever, smokes and shit.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool. I appreciate that. The family was just worried about the Discover card and somebody using it.
So when you left her house, you went home?
Yeah. I walked to my house and I smoked a couple cigarettes in that 2-minute walk. I don't know, I'm trying to process what just happened.
What were you doing before you made it to Margaret's house?
Just breaking into cars.
Do you remember where at?
It was down towards, I think the road's Fairlawn, and then I crossed over Broad, and I went down towards, past the little car dealership,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't even get into any cars when I was over there. And I was walking back. And I was thinking, like, what if I went into a house? And then I came up Broad Street, and I just went through a yard. And then I saw there was nobody there. Well, no cars. The garage looked like it wasn't open.
Did you look inside the garage?
I mean, before I went up onto the porch,
Yeah.
I opened the garage door, and it was just piled with a bunch of stuff. So I'm like, well, nobody's here. I didn't know whose house it was at first until
You saw her. And you knew she knew you.
Had you talked to her before? I know we discussed this a couple times, but
just doing the, like when I was 13 or 14, going to shovel driveways and stuff. You know, when I was actually doing something good.
and nobody was with you this night, and you've not told anybody about this.
No, nobody knows about this. I was never going to tell anybody.
What were you wearing that night? I mean, obviously the carpenter, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you find the boots and the carpenter, you all wear the same. Keep your boots rolling because they're comfy.
I don't even think I was wearing boots. I think I was wearing shoes because I knew I was out, you know, going to cars.
In case you got to run. Like tennis shoes then?
Yeah.
What kind of shoes do you have?
Like Nike ID running shoes. They were just my gym shoes. My little brother wears them now.
You don't remember what else you were wearing, though?
No, I think I had like black sweatpants and probably a black sweatshirt.
Practice dark so you wouldn't be seen. Makes sense. It's part of the adrenaline, you know what I mean?
Is there anything at your house that you've taken from any of these cars or anything that we could recover? You don't have like a GPS unit or sunglasses or anything like that?
No, I remember the GPS, but I didn't take that out.
Did Brayden take it home then? No?
Braden wasn't with me a lot of the times. Like when I would go out. I don't know.
Well, like when you met up with the guy with the car, did you take stuff from his car?
I was going to.
Like his cash? And he didn't care about cash. I mean, he didn't care. His cologne.
You had a bag with you, right?
Yeah, I had my bag. I just had like extra clothes.
So then
Like a hoodie. I think I had sweatpants in there. And then I had my house keys, cigarettes, and
Phone charger, stuff like that?
yeah.
what did you do with like his cologne? Just keep that?
Yeah, but there wasn't a lot in it.
And the cash, just use that for whatever, like smokes and stuff?
I didn't get cash from it.
Oh, there wasn't a cash in the car?
Because the whole reason, like, I had his phone in there, and like I cracked the window, and he was outside the door, and I'm like, "Where's your wallet?" He's like, "I don't have it." I'm like, "I don't believe you." So like I kept the doors locked, and I rolled the window up a little bit, and he couldn't fit his fingers in. Like I opened his glove box and went through stuff, but it wasn't in there. I'm like, "Well, what's in your pockets?" He's like, "Nothing." He showed me his pockets. And then, I don't know, my adrenaline was already going, so then I just, like, inched up a little bit, and I kept just doing that, and then I turned around, and I came down the, like, parking lot from him, and I turned left into there, and he came over there, and that's whenever he grabbed the window and tried to, like, pull it and break it, and then I went forward, like, I turned and went up towards the dumpsters. I threw his phone, and then I looked back, and I couldn't see him, so I got out of the car.
Yeah, he walked away then. We did a couple donuts.
I don't know, I wanted to see.
No, I understand. The key of soul, you know what I mean? Yeah.
on between the two of you in the car, right?
I mean, we understand no about this.
Yeah.
First time.
I mean, officially, I guess.
Yeah.
Stuff happened when I was younger. Like, that wasn't it wasn't like rape, but
No.
it wasn't voluntary for me.
You just weren't sure. Like when you got there, it's kind of like here's the plan, then things just start happening. And the excitement of that.
Yeah, no, that just kind of freaked me out a little bit.
As well, kind of stopped.
What freaked you out? Your reaction to it or him?
I don't know, just once I realized I was in the back of a car with some guy doing that,
So you realize this is just crazy.
yeah, and I didn't want to be part of it anymore.
Had you met anybody on Grindr before?
I had, yeah, before.
And did you talk to people on it?
A little bit, because I wasn't sure of how I felt, I guess.
Okay. You're not the only person ever to not be sure, so.
Part of being a teenager, so life goes on.
Does anybody else know about that? Are you worried about what your family would think?
I mean,
Is that what part of the confusion was when you stuff with Morbid too? Just the internal confusion?
yeah,
The social stuff, I mean. People battle with that all the time.
Gavin, is there anything else that we need to know about?
no, now you've got it.
We just want to put it all on the table and deal with it all now and get you the help you need, okay?
There's nothing else.
I mean, I knew I was driving, so I didn't pay attention to a whole lot or like that, but, she may have asked this, but did you mean to hurt Margaret like that?
No,
No.
No.
Or was it just the shock?
The shock.
You said you just started doing it, and by the time you realized that she had died, it was too late.
Nothing I can do.
Is that why you punched the wall with the school? Because of that main frustration? I think that chunk out of your hand, it doesn't say it hurts.
Sorry. I think I broke my hand or my pinky. I didn't even care. I was just mad because I finished my test in math, and then I saw a text from that said the cops have my phone. I'm like, great. And then Miss rings. I'm like, that's for me, I guarantee it. I'm looking at her, and she looks at me, and she, like, go to the office. I'm like, great.
That's for the break-in type stuff at the school, is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's that.
Yeah, the church, yeah, sorry.
Did you guys go in the church? No. You
No.
didn't set off the alarm without messing with the windows?
Yeah. Like,
Were you going to go into the church before the alarm went off?
I don't really know what we were going to do at the church. I didn't even hear the alarms go off. He's like, dude, the alarms are going off. Like, what are you talking about? And I listened. I'm like, we should probably go. And we did.
Did you feel weird going out and, like, given some cars are trying to break that place, knowing what you've already been through in Margaret's house? That seems strange. Or just kind of like the thought of the past thought? it's over, you can't change it.
Was it less of an adrenaline rush?
Yeah, it wasn't.
Was there that same adrenaline when you were on top of Margaret? Did you have that same adrenaline
That was,
feeling? Or was it a little bit different?
well, like that and going to break into cars.
Yeah.
I mean, cars is like that.
Quick fix.
It's just that, you know what, when you go to open the door handle, it's like, is the alarm going to go off? Is someone going to come outside? So it's like, there's that risk. And then, I don't think, the whole breaking into the house, that was the adrenaline part. I think, I don't know, I didn't even have a grip on reality whenever I did that.
Do you need a drink of water anyway?
I guess I'll take one.
Drink of water?
Now that we've asked you 76 times, you'll drink one.
What do you think's even going to happen with me?
I think you're going to go to juvenile detention. And you're going to do some time in jail.
How long do you think?
I don't know. I just don't know, Gavin. But I do know that your mom absolutely loves you, and you are a huge part of her world. And she needs you to be here.
That's what I'm most upset about.
But I want you to remember that. I don't want you to forget that, okay? You can't.
I don't, like, it's the only thing that's kept me going. My mom.
She seems like a pretty fantastic lady.
She is.
And she loves you more than anything, so if anybody can get you through this and get you what you need to fix whatever's going on with you, it's your mom.
But that's the thing. I don't know if this can be fixed. Because it doesn't feel like it's some regular emotion. This feels like it's natural, and I don't want it to be.
Anything can be fixed. Yeah.
I wasn't blowing smoke when I told you you were a nice kid. You know, you seem like a super nice kid. There's got to be something that's making all this happen for you, right?
Probably, but I don't know what.
So you're kind of fixing it now, don't you think?
No, that's made it a whole lot worse.
That's a big weight to be carrying around, don't you think?
Yeah.
It's a whole lot of monkey on your back that you've been toting, and now you're not toting it anymore. Now you get to heal.
You ever told your counselor about any of the thoughts that you have?
I did a lot, and she didn't. She started with trying to treat the depression first, and it wasn't working for a little bit. I still tried to kill myself, but I didn't.
Because you know it's not right.
No, I didn't. I don't care what happens to me. Like, honestly, I don't. It's what happened. Like, what would it do to my mom? If, like, I killed myself and that my mom said she couldn't go on another day if I died. I'm not gonna kill myself because of that.
So it's more for her, not for you.
Yeah, I don't care about me. I don't.
You do. People care about you.
Other people might, but I just.
It's because you're dealing with so much.
I'm not going to say who, I'm not going to say where, because I mean, it's not really that illegal. I don't want to bring more drama.
Yeah.
Me and my buddy, we were out driving. It was kind of late. It was probably like 1 in the morning. And we were at Silver Creek. And it was like kind of rainy and everything. And like when we were coming down this hill, there's like a big turn you have to take. And I'm like, just joking, like, dude, take it like 70 or something. He's like, oh, I will on the way back. I'm like, yeah, sure, like whatever, haha. And then on the way back, he's like, oh, screw it. And I'm like, oh, cool, like, doing this. And, like, I didn't really care, because he was only going like 40, when I like 50 or something. And then he kept going, or he kept speeding up and everything, and the curve started coming up. I'm like, dude, you might want to slow down. And he's like, yeah, so he slams on the brakes. We look at each other. We're just kind of like, oh, well. And then the car, like, went up over the sidewalk and, like, in the air, and then spun, like, down a big hill. And we were pretty sure the car was going to roll and we were going to die, but we didn't, like, overreact. Like, whenever we heard the tires squeal, whenever, like, the car started to turn, we looked at each other and, like, all that happened. We were like, well, that was cool.
Because there's nothing you can do with the tires, because there's no way to stop it. So you have to accept whatever happens.
Yeah, but I wasn't scared. Like, I was accepting whatever happened. I wasn't scared if I was going to die, or if I was going to crash and, like, break my back and be paralyzed. It didn't really matter to me.
Maybe because you're carrying a lot on your back.
But this was before that ever happened.
No, I mean even things before that. You mentioned something, I think I heard about a friend losing his life, is that correct? When was that?
2013.
You ever think maybe you're carrying something from that? Yeah, you are.
Well, no, I know I am.
Maybe
And
that
I think that's what started the depression.
kind of broke you, didn't it?
Mm-hmm.
A little bit.
After that, I
Put a crack somewhere in you. You can't, you use adrenaline trying to fill it. And it's not working. It does the immediate, but it doesn't long-term fill it.
no, and then I stopped being that immediate or like that quick fix. It just didn't work anymore.
You need something more long-term.
The night you were out at Margaret's, had you drank or smoked anything? Done any that night?
No, I was actually sober that night, which is another reason why I smoke weed and I drink, because I can't handle myself when I'm sober, or I can't like comprehend. I don't even know the word to use. My thoughts when I'm sober are dark. When I'm high, they're like good thoughts.
Had you ever thought about harming anybody before or taking someone's life before?
Not like planning it out, but like, oh, I'm so mad I could kill someone right now. Like that kind of thing.
But you never imagined yourself actually doing it?
No, I could never vision myself.
Like, wondering what would you did.
I couldn't, like, I don't know, like some stuff you think about yourself in that situation, like, yeah, I could see that. And then, like, I think about a car crash or something, me dying in a car crash, be like, yeah, I see that. Something else that doesn't necessarily involve me dying, or even like me being injured. Like, yeah, but I think about me killing someone, I'm like, I can't see that. I can't.
Never thought to ever wonder what it would feel like if that would feel that trying to fill?
I mean, I've wondered what somebody would feel like, but I've also wondered what jumping off a building would feel like, what driving my car 10 miles under the speed limit would feel like.
Yeah.
So it's not like anything about this is premeditated.
Nothing extraordinary.
I think we're gonna have to wrap things up with you, Gavin, and get some paperwork done and get you where you need to go for the night.
Wait, is my mom or dad coming here?
You know what, I don't know that. How good. Your mom said she was
I
going
thought
to.
she said she was coming here, yeah.
Yeah.
She was finishing up with that lady up at the place we were,
Mm-hmm.
and then she said she'd be coming here, okay? Is there anything that you're leaving out, or just, right, I don't leave here that way.
We don't want
Monkey
anything
off.
left.
I mean, if you're taking, like she said, is there anything at your house or anywhere that you're taking from anywhere that we can do, just get it back to whoever it belongs to, or? Nothing taken from a car, nothing taken from his car, so nothing taken from Margaret's house, nothing.
No, I'm trying to like visualize everything in my room, but I can't. I don't think I have anything in my room.
The wall tone thing you took from Margaret?
Yeah.
Where was that at when you grabbed that?
I think that was on the little thing by the China stuff, too.
Oh, okay.
By the phone and everything.
Okay. And then the only thing you really took from the guy's car was this boy or a little bit of cologne he had left?
Yeah.
Nothing else? No wallet, nothing was in there? And then the cars was just what? Did you get anything, like change or?
It's changed, but
No electronics, nothing good?
besides GPS, but that's gone. I threw it.
Did you? Where'd you throw that at?
On the road.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess so. You alright? Are you tired now?
I'm even tired. I don't know how I feel right now.
Are you sorry this happened?
Yeah, I'm really sorry that I did all of this.
Were you sorry about all of this before you got caught?
Yeah, like I constantly, like, I think about it a lot, and I feel like bad about what I did. Like I don't, like, I feel bad. I know it's wrong, but I can't express the emotion. So it seems like what I'm saying is a lot. Like if I say like something about my mom, I cry or whatever, like okay, just being honest. But if I say like I'm sorry for what I did, like with Margaret, and I don't have any emotion to it, it sounds like I'm lying and I don't really care. But that's not it. I just
If she was here, what would you say to her?
like, what do you mean?
If she was here alive in front of you, what would you say to her?
I'm sorry. That was never meant to happen. If I could take it back, I would.
Make sure you take advantage of whatever counseling they have for you. You need to go into it with an open mind and cooperate and do everything you can to get the help you need, okay?
I've been trying to get help.
No. I know you've been going, but I don't want you to give up on that. I want you to do what you need to do. I think you'll probably end up having to stay here for a little bit while we get some paperwork done, and then we'll get you up to the juvenile detention center. It's required that you're handcuffed behind your back when we go into the juvenile detention center.
That's fine.
So, have you ever been there before? Not in the detention side, you said, just for testing and stuff.
Yeah, I don't even know what it's like in there. I know DYS is bad.
I don't think this is quite as bad, but I think they're fairly strict.
Well, I'm saying, like, I'm gonna do, like, what I'm supposed to do when I'm in there. I'm saying DYS. If you don't,
Who you're housed with, is that what your concern is?
yeah, like DYS, people get the crap beaten out of them while they're asleep. Like, I don't want to deal with that.
Do you know anybody that's been to DYS?
Yeah, I know. You know, I've been told if I go to TYS, first thing I want to do is get into a fight and join a gang. Because that's the only way that anything's going to work out for me in DYS.
I don't think that's the best advice you've probably ever been given. I wouldn't even say that's even good advice.
Well, I mean, it's not. Like, hey, dude, go join a gang.
Okay, they're gonna come up. Gavin, only one thing I just want to check with you, because I know you're being honest and straightforward, you know what I mean, and I appreciate that. So I just want you to be straight up with us, okay? In Margaret's house, I'll be honest, I know you had those boots on. Okay.
I did have these boots on?
Yeah, you did, because you took a picture and your boots were right there.
Oh.
Yeah, those same boots. Right. But I know you said the tennis shoes, I wasn't sure, I just double checked.
I really did. I think
And I understand it's a whole lot going on inside your new eye right now. So I just want to make sure it's not so much as just saying, I'm just letting you know, it's confirmation, so we're all just truthful. So we walk out here the same thing, okay? Or anything like that. So he's calling for a road guy to come up here. Officer Cooper's going to snap just a couple of photos of hands and just some marks to show.
You don't have any marks from struggling with Margaret?
Mm-hmm. That tiny little thing right there, I think it was the fingernail. But that's the only thing.
Put your hands up here like that for me.
Because all the other stuff, I can tell you where it came from.
When you're carpet here, I'll get that.
Well, these are all from the handcuffs and stuff.
Yeah, I can tell.
Most of that was from the wall.
I just know
that. That wouldn't work, so was that. But piece of metal, like, took that thing off.
Okay.
So just that little red spot up there.
Yeah, that little thing.
Were you bleeding?
Mm-hmm.
Just scratched on the surface.
Yeah.
Did you have your bag with you when you went in there? You usually carried your bag, I would assume, to take stuff in.
Yeah, I mean, I know I have my bag with me. I don't know if I left it inside, or if I just left it, or like if I took it inside or left it outside, in case I hit the road or something.
Gotcha.
But like not run away, but run from the house.
When she woke up. She wouldn't have caught you. And you had gloves on the whole time you were in the house?
Yeah.
Even when you moved her and put her in the closet? You took them off when you got outside? say something.
Oh.
It's Officer Cooper, Gavin.
Yeah, I talked to him. Yeah. Hey, Gavin, I need to take some photographs. Yeah, just place your hands on just like that. Just.
You want them on the ground or?
Yeah, if you want. Yeah, if you can. Now, have you do like you just did?
Like this?
Mm-hmm. And actually, I'll have you turn them up just like that. Perfect. I'll darken this up just a little bit. Just like you are. Now I'll use this.
Why don't you show them where Margaret scratched you?
That little one right there.
Okay. You want to see this one again?
You said the redness there is from the handcuffs.
Yeah, I understand. I'll get this right there.
He punched the wall at school for that big one on his knuckle there on his right hand.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Can you stand up for me, or just sit in the chair? Just for a second. Okay.
I'll be honest, this Saturday, like 5 days from now, I was gone. I was leaving.
You're gonna run?
Because the only reason I didn't yesterday is because I knew my mom just took out my money for my insurance. And I knew my insurance doubled. So I had like no money. I just needed gas money to get somewhere. And I didn't care what happened. I don't know. I think I was headed down towards like Tennessee and keep going down through there.
You knew that this was gonna come out?
At some point. And I knew if I left, there'd be no coming back ever. And that's, I don't know, I kept having that thought every time I felt like I was ready to actually leave. I'm like, well, I literally can't ever talk to my family again if I leave.
Well, Gavin, I'm glad it's gonna stop here. I'm glad this didn't go any further. Because I don't know that you would have been able to change on your own.
No, I wouldn't. And I don't know, I had a pretty clear picture of what the next year looks like if I ran.
Unfortunately, I think you would have hurt more people. Was that in your plan?
I mean, that wasn't in my plan, but I could see that happening. But all I could see was me dead if I ran.
Think we're ready to move along here?
Yeah, can I use the restroom?
Yeah, we'll get you. I'll start taking you out, okay? Any more of that?
What is lupus?
Did you get enough of it?
Give that to the restroom.
Just give it a seat.
Groceries?
Yep. You need to put those on. First with John, I'll start from again. And,
Yeah.
Now, as you'd expect, police would arrest Gavin after this interrogation and they would begin searching his house. And during the search of his house, they found basically everything that they needed to corroborate the confession. That glove that I mentioned earlier that was discarded in the back of Margaret's house, they found a matching pair to that inside of Gavin's house. Oh, and also Margaret's wallet. But on top of all of that, the investigators that were searching Gavin's house happened to find that notebook that I mentioned earlier, detailing all of these sick, twisted thoughts that Gavin had that unfortunately he would act on with Margaret. Sergeant Don Shismenos with the Wadsworth Police Department would tell reporters that after reading the journal, there was no doubt in my mind that Gavin would kill again if he had the opportunity. This is something that he enjoys, that he finds pleasure in, and that is the biggest reason why Gavin is a monster. Gavin isn't an innocent 17-year-old boy who happened to go by the wayside. Gavin is a sick, twisted, broken individual who needs help, but he also doesn't need to be exposed to the public. I don't want to be around Gavin. I know you don't want to be around Gavin. And that's where the big twist in this case comes from, because you see, Gavin got sentenced to life in prison plus 21 years, but because of Ohio's Senate Bill 256, Bill 256 says that you have to mandate parole for juveniles. Gavin was a juvenile when the crime was committed, and it's looking like, unless his parole continues to get denied, Gavin will be released when he's in his 40s. Or I should say, eligible for parole in his 40s. Obviously, the parole board has to grant him that parole, and unless he does some, incredible, mind-blowing strides and changes and improvement to himself and who he is, I don't necessarily see a parole board letting him out, but I guess we're going to find out in 2043, which is the year that he will become eligible for parole. Now, Gavin Ramsay is currently incarcerated at the Grafton Correctional Institute with a parole date of March 4th, 2043. Like I said, I don't really see a future where Gavin's getting out to rejoin society, but the reality is that there is a chance. And from what I can tell, he doesn't seem to deserve another chance, but it's a system that we live with, and we either accept the justice system or we don't. Let me know your thoughts down below. What do you think about the case? What do you think about the ending resolution for Gavin Ramsay? What do you think about the judgment? Do you think justice was served for Margaret Douglas? With that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. My name is Jonny, and this has been Morbid Curiosity, the first episode of season 2. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you on the next one.